Jarrin Jackson. We're going to be continuing our Bible study in John chapter 11. We're going to be doing verses 28 through 37. And when she had said these things, she went her way and secretly called Mary her sister, saying, "The teacher has come and is calling for you." As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the town, but was in the place where Martha had met him. Then the Jews who were with her in the house, and comforting her, when they saw that Mary rose up quickly and went out, followed her, saying, "She is going to the tomb to weep there." Then, when Mary came where Jesus was, and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Therefore, when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her weeping, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. And he said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Lord, come and see." Jesus wept. Then the Jews said, "See how he loved him." And some of them said, "Could not this man, who opened the eyes of the blind, also have kept this man from dying?" When we, again, these are like most of these stories, most of the scripture, it's going to continue on from the last part. So, my camera, always fighting the camera. And when she had said these things, so it's a continuation of here. So Martha, who had come up to Jesus and said, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is to come into the world." As soon as she says that, when she had said these things, she went her way and secretly called Mary her sister. So Martha and Mary are sisters. They're in Bethany, outside of Jerusalem, about 2 miles. They're mourning their brother Lazarus. They all know Jesus. They're all good friends with Jesus. They all love Jesus on a personal level. They know him. They spend some time with him. She had said these things. She went her way and secretly called Mary her sister. So again, just you have to watch the last Bible study, the last study we did, but this is in the middle of the mourning period. This is in the middle of all the grief. Traditional Jewish custom is a week of grief, a week of lamentation, to mourn someone who had just died. And so Mary is in the middle of this. This is day 4 of the week. And so when Martha secretly went her way and secretly called Mary her sister, so the secretly called, Martha came to Mary secretly. Why would Martha need to be secret about coming to Mary about what she's saying? Because this is the mourning period. They should be free and open to talk about mourning. Well, this is why Martha secretly came to Mary. The teacher has come and is calling for you. So this is Jesus, the teacher. The King James says the master, but this is the didache. This is the teacher. This is someone who's a teacher. Anyway, Martha comes secretly to Mary because she's talking to Mary about something that is not lamenting or mourning for their brother. So you can almost kind of imagine and realize the cultural norm is not, "Hey, let me go talk to my sister and tell her about this teacher that's coming and is calling for her," because this is kind of taboo. Why would the teacher, in the middle of our mourning and our grief, call us for us? Why is the teacher calling Mary to come to him away from where she's mourning currently in her house? This is why Martha is secretly coming to Mary, because the culture, the custom, the tradition, the religion, maybe even, was that you don't break this period. The focus of this period is mourning the dead. And so Martha is secretly inviting Mary to go away from mourning the dead and to come to the teacher. Come to the teacher. The teacher. The other thing about this is, out of all the things they could have told Jesus, or all the things they could have called Jesus, they name him the teacher. Now, Jesus is a personal friend. They know Jesus. They've known him for a long time. They love Jesus. But they call him the teacher. They call him the teacher. One is who is to be followed. One who's going to be talking about salvation. That's what rabbis in first century Judea, which is how we should be reading this. First century Judea, rabbis are teaching people about salvation. They have their own interpretations of Scripture, their own expositions. They pass down teachings from their teacher, from that teacher, from their teacher. It's almost like there is a lineage of teaching, like there's different schools of teaching. Well, this is addressing Jesus in that manner, but specifically and uniquely as though he is the teacher. So you've got other rabbis who could be called teachers, but now you've got the teacher. So Martha is calling Mary secretly in the middle of her culturally, customarily, normal mourning of her dead brother, because the teacher, has come and is calling for you. So you see how Jesus calling for her is more important than what the custom, the culture, the tradition, the religion, and what she may personally want to do. So overriding all the things that are kind of saying Mary should be grieving for her brother is the teacher has come and he's calling for you. That is sufficient reason for her. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him. Now it's interesting here, and I want to point this out because this arose and this resurrection are similar in meaning, but two completely different words. This, I am the resurrection and the life, which, by the way, is the thing that the teacher is teaching. Jesus is teaching, I am the resurrection and the life. That's the teaching that Martha is saying that this guy is the teacher. Because Jesus just taught Martha, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me may have, though he may die, he shall live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. That's the teaching that Martha wants Mary to come learn. Like, hey, this guy just told me some stuff. This guy just told me he's the resurrection. So Martha is rightly doing this. But this is interesting to me because she arose. So this arose right here is not the same root word as this resurrection. This resurrection, that root word is anastasis, to bodily rise, to go from a position of death to life. And that is uniquely, specifically, only reserved to Jesus. This arose is, where'd I go? This arose is she was from a low position, she's raising to a high position. So she's standing up. She's getting up, which means that she was down. Now, Jesus had not yet come into town. So Jesus hadn't yet come into where they are. Now, this could be the fact that the Jews in Jerusalem nearby are after him. It could be the fact that Jesus doesn't want to go there because the students come to the teacher. So for whatever reason, Jesus has not yet come into town, maybe because he doesn't want to disturb the grieving, maybe because he doesn't want to be the guy that's, hey, this family's just trying to, focus on their dead brother, and then all of a sudden the teacher shows up, and it's like, now he's the issue. So you can look at that however you want to, but the Bible is just saying Jesus had not yet come into where he was. But, contraction, opposite, but was in the place where Martha, I have to redo this, was in the place Martha met him. So Jesus stayed put. So Jesus tells Martha, I'm the resurrection and the life, and then she goes to go get her sister, and he stays where they had just discussed. Jesus stayed where he had just been talking to Martha. Is that because Jesus knew that Martha would go get Mary and bring Mary to him? Did they coordinate that, or is Jesus just know human nature and he knows that whenever he dropped that, whenever he told Martha, I'm the resurrection and the life, Martha's going to be so focused on that truth and that he is the Christ that she's going to go get him, which is also something. It's like the response of Martha is, very interesting. She just hears that he is the Christ, she confesses that he is the Christ, and she believes in him. And what's she do? She goes and gets somebody else to bring. She goes bring somebody else to him. Just very interesting there. Then the Jews who were with her, that her there is Mary. So the Jews were with Mary in her house and comforting her. So the Jews were doing what was custom. They were doing what was cultural. They were doing what was even religious. And that was comforting her, Mary, in the lamentation, the grief of her dead brother. But they were in her house. So you can see how this is a very close-knit society, very loving society, very family-focused society. When Mary's brother passes away, people who are in her community come to her house, and they are comforting her. But they're comforting her in the sense that her sister can come to her secretly. So that must mean that they're separated, like they're either in a different room or something, because how does Martha, if the Jews are there comforting Mary, how does Martha secretly pass her to tell her this message? Right? So even though the Jews are there and the culture is there to surround Mary, to be there with her, to comfort her, the culture, and I hope I'm being clear, the Jews that are there comforting Mary are not so close to Mary in proximity that Martha is unable to pass by them to give her a message about the teacher. The Jews are there, the culture is there, the people are there, they are comforting her, but they are not so close to Mary that her sister cannot secretly pass there and go and say things. Or she whispered in her ear or whatever. But the point that I want to get at the Bible points out, is that when they saw Mary rose up quickly and went out, followed her, saying, she is going to the tomb to weep there. Now this, I want to point out something. These Jews who are there in the house with Mary, comforting her, doing what they're culturally supposed to do, doing what they may be religiously mandated to do. They're comforting Mary, and in their attempt to comfort, they draw a conclusion that is incorrect. These Jews, comforting Mary, see Mary rise up and go out quickly, conclude she is going to the tomb to weep there. But Mary is not going to the tomb to weep there. Mary is going to the teacher. Mary is going to where Jesus is. So these Jews, and I say this for, I'm setting this up, but if you think about this, these Jews make a wrong conclusion. The wrong conclusion that these Jews draw is that she is going to the tomb to weep. Now, this is not a bad conclusion that the Jews are drawing, because this would be normal. You're going to be in your house and you're just overcome with grief. You got to go to the tomb and you got to weep there. Again, customary, culturally allowable. That's the Jews are there to comfort her. This whole situation is people who are not normally in her house are in her house comforting her because her brother just died. So their job, culturally, traditionally, religiously, is to support her. And if her, in her grief, rises up quickly and leaves the house, then the Jews who are there to comfort her in her house recognize that she is just overcome with grief so much that we have to go out and follow her. So these Jews conclude culturally that she is going to the tomb to weep, but they also follow her. So the Jews follow Mary. The Jews are in her house comforting Mary, and when Mary rises up and leaves, the Jews rise up and leave and follow her. And so they conclude that she is going to the tomb to weep. I am not trying to beat this dead horse. I'm setting up the fact that the Jews are drawing conclusions that the culture would have considered true. The Jews are drawing conclusions and making observations about what they know, about what is traditional, about what they are used to. That's the point I'm trying to make. The Jews are making observations. Sorry, I just killed a spider on my leg. The Jews are making conclusions that they are used to making. That's what you get for being out in the country. Then, when Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet. So she leaves quickly, she goes to the place where Jesus was. So the place where Jesus was is not where the tomb is. So these Jews, following Mary, are seeing the place where Jesus is, and they're like, wait, this is not the tomb. Where Jesus is not where the tomb is. So when people are going out to Jesus, they are not going to where the dead people are. They are going to where Jesus is. Ooh, preach. She is going to where the tomb is to weep there. So the Jews had an expectation that they're going to go to the place where the dead people are, because that's what they're there to do. They are there to help grieve for the dead people, and they know that where the dead people are. But Mary goes to where Jesus is. Well, these are two different places. The tomb is not where Jesus is, and Jesus is not where the tomb is. And saw him. So when Mary came to where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet. When Mary came to Christ, who she knew on a personal level, like they've got deeper relationships than just, hey Jesus, what's going on? She knew Jesus. She loved Jesus. She fell down at his feet. She worshipped him. She fell prostrate. That word there is to go from a position of high to a position of low. She humbled herself. When Mary came to Jesus, she humbled herself. That's what she's doing. Now, if you are these Jews, and you're in Mary's house and you're there to comfort her because that's your religion, your tradition, your custom, your culture, and you see her leave and you think you're going to go to the tomb, and then you realize that you're not going to the tomb, you're going to where this place is, now you're getting kind of tapped. Hey, Mary, what you doing? I'm here to help. I'm here to comfort you, and you're here leaving us, not going to the tomb, but you're going to Jesus. Why, Mary, are you not doing what culture, society, tradition, religion says that you should be doing? Why are you not mourning this dead person? Why are you not going to the tomb? Why are you going to Jesus? What's going on? And why are you getting down? Why are you worshiping at this dude's feet? Very weird. This is not normal. Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Isn't this exactly what Martha said? Very close to it. Let's turn back a page. Let's just see. So this is Mary. What's Martha say? I'm trying to find it. Okay, this is it. Sorry, folks, I didn't have it point out. Lord, this is Martha. Now Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you. So both of these sisters, both of these sisters, in their grief, in their love of Jesus, they both tell him, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. So a couple different perspectives. Mary and Martha both know that Jesus is a solution to death. In some way, both of these sisters have the belief that Jesus has some type of power, some type of solution to death, because they both said, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. So these sisters believe that if Jesus is there, then death does not happen. Okay, that's one level. Another level is, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. It means you would have been able to do something. Prayer, intercession, whatever it is. We don't know specifically what would have happened, but we know the outcome. So they are looking at Jesus based on the guarantee of the outcome. They don't really know his process. They don't know if he's going to say words or put his healing hands on them or spit on his hands and make mud in the dirt and then put it on his forehead. They don't know his process. They just know the outcome. They're not interested in the process. Would not have. They don't know what this would have been, but they just know the outcome. These sisters believe that Jesus being present, the outcome is going to be different. And that's true, because if Jesus is present, the outcome is different. But they both say, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. So they are elevating their brother's death to Jesus. Their brother's death is the issue that they bring to Jesus. So out of all the background that these women had with Jesus, their friendships, skipping rocks on the pond or climbing trees or like building a chair or, just talking about politics or culture or whatever they have background-wise, relationship-wise with Jesus, all of that is subjugated now to their brother's death. Their brother's death is the issue that they highlight to Jesus, both of them, individually, without prompting. They both bring their brother's death to Jesus. People bring to Jesus the thing that is in their mind that's, that they're thinking about. Therefore, this is a conclusion. This is a conclusion word. Therefore, when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her weeping, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. So, therefore, Jesus groaned in the spirit and was troubled. Why did Jesus groan in the spirit and was troubled? Because Jesus saw her, Mary, weeping, and the Jews who came with her weeping. So you've got Mary weeping, you've got the Jews weeping, and the response to Jesus seeing a woman weep and the Jews weep is groaned in the spirit and was troubled. Jesus did not weep because other people were weeping. Jesus did not weep because the Jews were weeping. The response to the woman weeping and the Jews weeping was him being groaned in the spirit and was troubled. Okay. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what this was about. So I went to my app here, and it's just an app that allows me to kind of see what's going on. We're going to go to this app, and we're going to start looking into these words. We're going to look. So this is a King James version on the app, but it shows you what the it shows you what the words are. So, for example, whenever I said the King James Version says master, well, that word in the Greek, if you push this, is didaskalos. Well, that's the didike is to learn. A didaskalos is a teacher. A didaskalos is not a master. So this is the King James. Nothing against the King James, good version, but this is the master. That word is not. That's not the word for master. That's teacher. So the context here is, yes, Jesus is the master. But the context there is, this is the teacher about the resurrection. This is the one teaching about the resurrection. That's why I said what I said. So it's just very interesting to get to the original Greek, to get the original Hebrew, and what these words mean. And this is where the bulk of this study is going to be from now on. So whenever Jesus comes there, he's there. So Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews were weeping. He groaned in the spirit and was troubled. So he groaned. Let me click on this. Groaned. We go to groaned, and it's this imbrem-o-mai, iomai, imbrem-a-o-ahi, whatever that is. So I don't speak Greek. But look at this. To with anger. To snort with anger. That's the root of this word and where it comes from. So to charge with earnest admonition, sternly to charge, threatened to enjoin. So why is Jesus angry? Whenever it says he groaned the spirit, that means there's some anger there. To snort with anger, to have indignation on, to blame, to sigh with chagrin, to sternly enjoin, straitly charge, groan, murmur against. What is he murmuring against? What is he snorting with anger about? Is he snorting with anger if we go back to the text? Or is he snorting with anger that Mary is weeping? Is he snorting with anger that the Jews are weeping? He's not mad at the Jews weeping. He's not mad and snorting with anger that Mary is weeping. What is he snorting with anger about? What is he murmuring against? And it's in his spirit. So this is not, you're not seeing this on his face. This is internally, and was troubled. Well, what's this mean? What does that troubled word mean? So we go back to this app. We go back to troubled, and was troubled. We click on this. The word is tarasso. This means to agitate, to trouble a thing by the movement of its parts to and fro, to cause one inward commotion, take away his calmness of mind, disturb his equanimity, to disquiet, make restless, to stir up, to trouble, to strike one's spirit with fear and dread, to render anxious or distressed, to perplex the mind of one by suggesting the scruples of doubts. Why is Jesus agitated? Why is Jesus agitated? Why is he snorting with anger in his spirit, and why is he agitated? Why is Jesus snorting with anger in his spirit and agitated when he sees Mary weeping and the Jews weeping? Now, what type of weeping are we talking about? What do we mean by weeping? Let's go to the word weeping. What do we mean by weeping? This right here is kleo. Right? Kleo, to mourn, weep, lament, weeping as the sign of pain and grief for the thing signified. Of those who mourn for the dead, to weep, mourn, bewail, sob, wail aloud. They're crying out, "Oh no, why weeping? Oh, I'm weeping." Right? So they're weeping. Mary's weeping, and the Jews weeping is aloud. It's, "Oh no, why blood? No." It's that type of weeping. So when Jesus sees Mary weeping, and he sees the Jews weeping, and this weeping is crying out loud, Jesus responds to that is he's groaning in the spirit. He's snorting with anger, and he's agitated. Now, do you think Jesus is angry? Do you think Jesus is snorting with angry or agitated at Mary weeping aloud? Do you think that Jesus is snorting with anger or he's agitated with the Jews weeping aloud? No. The response that Jesus is getting at is whenever Jesus sees Mary weeping for her dead brother and the Jews weeping for Mary's dead brother, he is seeing a woman who is afflicted because her brother is dead, and he's seeing Jews who are culturally fulfilling their loving mandate, their neighborly mandate to comfort those who are weeping, and Jesus doesn't like it. Jesus does not like the context that's going on. He does not like Mary, who is weeping for her dead brother. He does not like the Jews who are there to support a sister of a dead brother who is weeping for her dead brother. He does not like them doing that. He's snorting with anger, and he's agitated inside. That's what Jesus' response is to the situation. And Jesus said, "Where have you laid him?" Where have you laid him? Let's look at the laid, because this is how I think. This is how I do Bible studies. I look at the word. I go, "Where have you laid him?" Now, 21st century Jarrin's like, "Okay, yeah, where'd you put him? Where'd you bury him?" But let's look in this word. Where did you lay him? Where have you laid him? Think about this. This is how I build. This is how the Holy Spirit leads me. So we go back to this app. Where have ye laid him? We click on laid, and the laid here is tithimi, a prolonged. Well, that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this: to set, put, place, to place or lay, to put down, lay down, to bend, to lay off or aside, to wear, carry no longer, to lay aside, to set forth, something to be explained by discourse, to make oneself for one's use, to set, fix, establish. I love this one, to set or establish, because what's happening here is that where have you? Who's the you? Who is the you? They said to him, "Lord, come and see." So the they is Mary and the Jews. So Mary and the Jews are wailing aloud, "Oh no!" And he asks, "Where have you laid him?" So the people who are weeping aloud have done something. They've established something. What did the people who are wailing aloud establish? Jesus said, "Where have you laid him?" This is not just where you have buried him. Where have you established him? Where is he going to be in perpetuity? Because this is a system, this is a reality that Jesus is snorting with anger against and agitated by. He's agitated by people who are crying out for a dead person. He's agitated and snorting with anger at the fact that a sister is weeping over her dead brother. And he asks them, in response to this, you guys are crying and you're wailing out loud, where have you established him? What have you done in response to death? Where have you buried this person because you have no other option? Your culture says that they have to come by and comfort you. You, your sister, you know that if I had been here, your brother would not have died, but yet I wasn't here and now your brother has died, and so you are wailing out loud, and in your wailing, you had to have done something with the body. Where have you established him? Where did you put this guy? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Shortest verse in the Bible, very profound. Shortest verse in the Bible, John 11:35, Jesus wept. Jesus did not weep because they were weeping. Jesus did not weep because the Jews were weeping. Why did Jesus weep? Jesus wept, I believe, because they invited him to what they had established. They have to work with death. Death is the reality that they have to work with. Death happens to Lazarus. She, even though she's weeping, the Jews, even though they're weeping and they're comforting her, they still have to establish something based on the reality of death. They invite Jesus to come and see how they respond to death. That's why Jesus weeps. Jesus weeps because they have no other recourse. There is no life. There is no resurrection without Jesus. Isn't that why he's the teacher? Isn't that why whenever Martha tells Mary, the teacher has come and is calling you, what did he just get done teaching? I am the resurrection and the life. The teacher has come. The teacher's come and is calling you. Well, what did he just get done teaching about? He just got done teaching about the resurrection and the life. And so the resurrection and the life asks these people, what have you established in death? What have you done? How have you responded to death? There's no resurrection or life here. Zero. There's zero resurrection here. Because there's zero resurrection, Jesus is weeping. Jesus is weeping because these people, in their lamentations, have to establish something in death. They have to. They have to engage death. They have to put the body somewhere. And that's what and so this whole culture is designed to be comforting and to love and to, help and support. So much so that they are in her house, and whenever she leaves, they follow her, they go to the tomb, and it's like, wait, you're not going to the tomb, you're going to this dude. And it's like, this is the issue. The issue is there's no life or resurrection here. And Jesus says, where have you established him? Where have you laid him? Where'd you put him? You responded to death. Show me what you built based on death. Show me how you established in response to death. And they said to him, Lord, come and see. And Jesus weeps. Why does he weep? Because Lazarus has been established in the grave. He's dead. There's no resurrection here. There's no life here. Where else have you seen this? Come and see. Let's go to John chapter 1. John chapter 1. So this is John chapter 1. We're going to go here to verse 35. We're going to go here to verse 35. Again, the next day, John, this is John the Baptist, stood with two of his disciples, and looking at Jesus as he walked, he said, Behold, the Lamb of God. Okay. Then they say, the two disciples heard him speak, and they followed Jesus. Then Jesus turned, and seeing them following, said to them, What do you seek? They said to him, Rabbi, which is to say, when translated, Teacher, where are you staying? He said to them, Come and see. Jesus invited his people to come and see where he was staying. Who is Jesus? He's the resurrection and the life. Jesus' invitation is to come and see where he's at. Where is Jesus staying? Well, Jesus is the resurrection and the life. So Jesus' invitation is to resurrection and life. These people in John 10, their invitation is to death. Jesus invites people to the resurrection and the life. Come to me, all ye who are wearied and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Come to Jesus and you have the resurrection and the life. But whenever we invite Jesus, we have nothing but death. Come and see what we have established in the tomb. Come and see what we have established because of death. That's why Jesus wept. And this wept right here, we go back to this little app. Get that out of the way. We go back to this little app. Jesus wept. Click right there. It's a different wept, right? So you go back, you've got Jesus weeping. The Jews were weeping, right? Right? We've got Cleo. The Jews are Cleo. The Cleo here is out loud, lamenting. They're not quiet, right? They're not quiet. They're grieving aloud. They're, oh no, this is horrible. And I'm not making fun of them. I'm just trying to say that they're audible. They're audible and they're weeping. But you go to Jesus, dakruo. And by the way, this is the only time it's used in the Bible. The only time to shed tears this way is used in the Bible is like this. Now, what does this mean? This means that Jesus is not wailing out loud. He's not on his hands and knees and tearing his robes and just like, oh no, this is horrible. He is standing there with tears silently rolling down his cheek because he's looking at this reality that these people have nothing else except for to invite death. It's an invitation to death. It's an invitation to see death. Come and experience death. And because Jesus is the resurrection and the life, he's the opposite. They're inviting Jesus to come to do something that he's God. He doesn't know about, he knows about death, but he's not subjected to this. This is not him. Come and see. Why are you inviting Jesus, the teacher, the God, Alpha, the Omega, the Creator, the King of Kings, the Christ? You guys just admitted, Martha just admitted here you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is to come into the world. The Old Testament says that this guy is going to establish an everlasting dominion, a kingdom that's not going to end. Because they believe, but that's what they believe. They believe that Jesus is the Christ, the King that's going to establish the dominion from everlasting to everlasting. No one will go against him. Every tribe, nation, tongue, everything. This guy is going to be in charge of everything. That's who they think he is. That's who they're talking to. And yet, they're inviting him. They're inviting him to come and see death. Because they have got no other option. They've got nothing else to except for to invite this guy to come see death. That's why Jesus weeps. The silent tear rolls down his face because he recognizes that even though he's snorting with anger in his spirit and he's agitated because of death, he recognizes that there are people who are subjected to it. And because everyone is subjected to death, they have to establish things in death. They have no other option. Jesus is weeping because of the hopelessness that these people have. The hopelessness of their situation is that death is going to take them. Death is going to seize them. And there's no resurrection or life in this. You can have a culture where people come to your house and comfort you. Those people at your house that are trying to comfort you, they can see that you go, and when you go, they go. Wherever you go, they follow. You can have a culture of people who are neighborly, loving, and going to try to take care of you and try to grieve with you. But if that culture doesn't point you to the resurrection and the life, you're still establishing nothing and everything in death. Everything you're establishing is in death. And that makes Jesus weep. Because where there is no resurrection, where there is no life, that's what Jesus weeps. But he also hates death. He does not like death. He snorts with anger. He is agitated at the fact that death is an existence and death is a reality. Then the Jews said, "See how he loved him." Now this is where I want to get, well, with all of this background. These Jews, the same Jews that incorrectly concluded that she is going to the tomb to weep there, right? Mary went to go find Jesus, but these Jews who were comforting her in her house, see she gets up quickly and she leaves, and they're like, oh, she must be going to the tomb and weep. But she didn't go to the tomb and weep. These are the same Jews. So these same Jews that incorrectly concluded that Mary was going to the tomb to weep when she left her house are the same Jews that concluded, see how he loved him. These Jews who incorrectly concluded that Mary was leaving the house to go to the tomb and weep, I believe, incorrectly conclude that Jesus loved Lazarus. Jesus did love Lazarus. But Jesus is not weeping because of Lazarus. Jesus is weeping because these people have no resurrection life. They've got no resurrection, no life, no hope. They have to establish everything in death. Yes, there's love with Jesus and Lazarus. I'm not trying to take away that. That's not what I'm trying to say. He was fully God and fully human. But what does the text say? The text says Jesus wept as a result of him being there. And they said to him, Lord, come and see. He weeps. He weeps when they invite him to come and see how they established things in death. He weeps at that. Lazarus is part of that, absolutely. Lazarus being dead is part of this. I mean, he's the guy that's dead, right? Like, he's the guy that's in the tomb. But Jesus doesn't just weep because of Lazarus. That is a correct interpretation. I don't think it acknowledges all the things that are going on with Jesus, though. I don't think it acknowledges this tension, the snorting with anger and the agitation. I don't think it correctly addresses the fact that he's weeping for Lazarus. He is, but that's not all of it. He's weeping at the fact that these people have no hope. These people have nothing outside of him. But these Jews conclude, see how he loved him. And some of them said, could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying? Now, this is how I know that these Jews aren't really looking at what Jesus is talking about. And this is where you need to understand. Even though the Bible says something here, see how he loved him, that does not mean that these Jews' conclusion is correct. So the Jews can say, see how he loved him, and this can be in the Bible, which means that's what's happened, and that's what these Jews believed. But the context is, who are these Jews in order to make truthful statements? And how truthful are their characterizations or their conclusions are of Jesus? See, then the Jews said, see how he loved him, would make people think, oh, okay, yeah, Jesus is crying for Lazarus. But is Jesus crying for Lazarus? Yes, partially. But he's crying because they invited him to come see death. Death is the reality of their system. They have to establish everything moving forward in death. That's why he's crying. These are the same Jews that incorrectly concluded that she's going to go to the tomb and weep there, because they are making assumptions. They are concluding things based on their culture. They're concluding things based on their religion. They're concluding things based on tradition. They're not looking at what things are, either because they don't know this. I mean, like, Jesus isn't telling them, I'm groaning in the spirit and I'm troubled. He's not doing that. But a tear's rolling down his cheek. A tear rolled down my Lord's face. Why? Because my Lord knows that death is what we have to be established in if he's not there. If there's no resurrection in life, Jesus knows that death is the only recourse. And therefore, all of life is weeping and establishing things in death. That's everything. All of my physical life here and all of your physical life where you're at and everybody else is all establishing things in death. It all concludes, where are you going to lay him? Where have you laid him? Where are you going to end up? If you don't have Jesus, that's it. That's it. And some of these said, and this is how you know that he's wrong, because they don't believe that he is Lord. And how do I know that? Because they said, could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying? Couldn't the guy that healed the guy that didn't see from birth, couldn't this guy also heal death? Now think about this. Remember, go back. The guy that was healed from birth said himself it had never happened. Let's see if I can find this. Hopefully I don't take too much time. So the guy, so John chapter 9 is about a dude that gets healed, and he had never been, he had never been able to see. So John chapter 9, John chapter 9, I'm sorry folks, I hadn't planned this, so I didn't really think through it. But the idea is that the Jews in John 9 are calling the man who was blind, give God the glory, we know that this man is a sinner. The man is Jesus. The Jews are saying that Jesus is a sinner because he healed people on the Sabbath. Basically as we read on, the guy who was formerly blind said, since the world began, it has been unheard of that anyone opened the eyes of one who was born blind. So the point here in John chapter 9 is that a dude that was born blind and had never seen now sees. And he's saying here in John 9:32 that this had never happened. He's unheard of it. And my commentary whenever I did this Bible study was, don't you think a guy that was born blind wouldn't be very interested in, has someone who has been born blind ever not been blind or been made healed to where they can see? Don't you think that would be like an anecdote or a story or a glimmer of hope that they hold on to? But because this guy who was born blind has said that it's never been heard of, don't you think that would have been like intimately something that he would have been very interested about? Do you think he's interested about the capital of Micronesia or, the geopolitics of Russia? No. The thing that dude's really focused on is, has anyone ever been born blind and have their eyes opened? That's the thing that he's most important about, or that's the thing he's most focused on, which means that's probably true, right? So if you take that and you cross-apply it to this, Jesus has done something that had never been done in the history of the world, and so he did it. And these guys know that he did it. So these guys know that Jesus had done something that had never been done in the history of the world, and now they're saying, couldn't he have also kept this man from dying? It's like, you can do one thing that's never been done in the history of the world, but could you do this other thing that's never been done in the history of the world? These Jews don't believe that Jesus is the Christ. That's the issue. These Jews don't believe that Jesus is the Christ, which is why they draw conclusions that don't really recognize what Jesus is actually talking about. Anyway, next time we'll pick up John 11, verse 38, and we'll actually get Lazarus out of that grave, and that's going to be good. Anyway, I'm Jarrin Jackson. God bless you.